Hi. You may not recognize this face, but you may recognize this voice. That is because since September of 2006, inspired by a name I got out of a college science fiction fantasy club, I have been going under the persona Fluffyman. And for years since then, I've been doing various blogs about nostalgia, and more recently, calling out haters, But in reality, my name is Brian Myers. I live in Rochester, New York. I'm 29 years old. I've actually been born and raised in upstate New York. Now, as you may wonder, aside from the fact that I'm wearing my collegiate shirt here, that I graduated with a bachelor's in communications journalism. Sorry about my old camera shyness here. I don't usually use these things. I even actually wrote a little notes at the bottom about keeping the structure of this vlog very tight, and it's reason why you will see me occasionally glancing down or something like that. Very unprofessional, I know. I don't have like a cue card or anything like that, or maybe just this is pretty much as raw as it gets, folks. Anyways, some of you might be wondering, why did I take off the bootleg Batman smile in order to talk with you today? Well, essentially because I just feel like I am at a stage in my life in which I feel like I need to branch out a bit. I mean, there is a project that I've been very passionate about for several years. One that I've pretty much wrote extensively, basically, without really thinking of like a part in which it would feasibly be released to the public or anything like that. I just kept writing this story and coming up with this idea, which I would really like to share to people, but I've never really thought of a way in order to do it. It was like only a dream I had in my head, and it's like I don't really want to deal with sort of crap that publishers would put on me if I were to like put this out to a publisher or anything like that. It's just I really want to get this out on my own, to bring my own work to the public without having to fear like a bunch of executives or something breathing down my neck. It's like, no, you can't do this, no, you must market to this curved audience, that sort of thing. So essentially, the reason why I came out is because I am planning on a crowdfunding effort for my work, and I feel like hiding behind that bootleg Batman smile wouldn't have really fit for this. I feel like it would have been much more support if Brian Myers and Fluffyman were to become one. And I know it's a little oh, back to subject. In fact, subject is pretty much part of the title that I am working on. Title of my work that I'm hoping to get to the support of the public, or at the very least a few friends, maybe anonymous friends of the internet, family members, that sort of thing. It's called Subject Number 3. Subject Number 3 is essentially the culmination of a story that I've been written for years. It essentially was my little thing that I came up with while I was in the 90s, late 90s. I actually had a little bit of a chat role-playing obsession. Remember when America Online was, everybody was using America Online, and it's like, having to deal with that damn dial-up noise every time you want to go online to surf the internet or anything like that. But essentially, it came up with the framework of what the story I'm producing. It's actually a science fiction novel, as if you couldn't guess by the title, about that sort of experiment gone wrong sort of story, and it's, I think I've been, developing the story over the years, and what sort of tone I'm kind of trying to go for is kind of a grounded, yet pulpy kind of science fiction story, in which in general, I'm trying to have the kind of fantastical elements of like a pulp novel or something like that, combined with kind of a down-to-earth sort of, kind of a more down-to-earth sort of saying, kind of centric around a person who wouldn't even is even part of much of this universe, kind of that normal, fantastical elements through a normal person lens, And just, not too distant future. It's kind of a, not really dystopian, but kind of takes place in kind of a piece of shit sort of post-modern society in which economy is all in the toilet. Things are just not looking good in the job market, that sort of thing. And I'm actually using my own home city as Rochester as a setting. Yeah, I know, kind of you would think of big cities and stories, like New York, Los Angeles, New Orleans, that sort of thing. I don't know why I said New Orleans, but that's kind of a big city, but, yeah, and, but essentially I feel like, Rochester hasn't quite gotten, much mainstream attention in terms of a setting for a city. I mean, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 actually used Rochester as one of their filming locations, when the big truck chase at the beginning of the film, where Rhino, pretty much smashes through everything, and Spider-Man kind of gleefully ignores all the cars that are smashed by him. Part of that was filmed in Rochester. Though you couldn't really tell because it's meant to be New York City, but... And just to make a bit clear about subject number 3, there is, I am not gonna make this kind of a Twilight sort of, divergent sort of romance kind of science fiction young adult thing that's popular these days. Actually, I'm really very much planning that the novel contains next to no romance in it. I say next to no because there might be a little bit of it, but it's not really a core focus of the story. Instead, I wanted to, kind of a core focus, kind of the fantastical meeting, kind of a everyday society thing. I haven't really quite come up with the buzz terms, if you can imagine right now. Yeah, and it's just, and the reason why I want crowdfunding is, other than the fact that I want to produce a book, physical books, as opposed to, digital will be my main platform, but I'm actually gonna see if I can actually print copies of the book. Print copies of the book, albeit in a limited capacity at start, and depending on what stretch goals I'd make. And it's nice to give incentive to people to give them photographed copies of my book, signed Brian Myers, or maybe prefer Fluffyman, if you... I don't know if I'll do that, but I just, sign copies and, give people incentives. But the main first real thing I want to crowdfund for is like a professional editor and illustrator. Essentially, as much as I'm passionate about my work, I'm also kind of in an echo chamber with it. I usually bounce ideas off of myself most of the time, and I don't really have a lot of outside criticism about it. It was like so much I'm kind of circling around. It really needs an outside voice, somebody who knows a lot about tropes and story beats that make my novel about as strong as it can be. That's why I need an editor. As far as an illustrator, I am really looking to get that sort of pulp feel into a cover, as opposed to, like, how some covers are just a few images and, kind of like the Apple thing in Twilight or something like that. Just not a whole lot to them, but I really wanted to make it that sort of pulpy feeling in which it was kind of a painting aesthetic, or maybe just a hand-drawn one. I don't know. It really depends. But I am looking for that sort of pulp sort of cover in which it really draws the attention of the audience towards what the story is going to be. Kind of a striking image that I have had that I felt is the defining moment of the novel, and one I think I will edit into the video if anything is of, like, a concept sketch of stuff that was actually made by my aunt, but who I wanted to be involved with it, but she's kind of been this busy, really busy about it, alright? But this isn't really a pitch video, really. I'm still working out the details of it. I'm like, maybe Kickstarter, maybe Indiegogo. I mean, it was also really hard for me to think of what incentives to give people into it. So, but I am planning on filming a pitch video for this, and actually I'm using this very same camera that I'm pitching, higher resolution and stuff than my vlog, but I'm filming a pitch video, hence why I bought this camera, to really sell people on the idea of my book. Of course, that will have a lot more details than what I'm here, but it's just kind of an introduction to it. Anyway, and a few last notes about calling out hairs won't be going away. Instead, we'll reshape slightly, reflect the fact that now I'm unmasked, basically, but I won't be, like, putting my face on the, smile, or the, anything like that, but I am going to plan on slightly shape how I write my blogs, because everyone knows now I'm a person, not just some anonymous guy. I'm not going to make these sort of vlogs this often, as you can already tell. I'm not really that, kind of person who likes to be on the camera a lot. But might be actually making a few videos for fun in the future to go along with the vlogs I plan on making, reflecting the, my novel, the development of my novel, and, possibly anything developing on, the Kickstarter campaign. Alright? Alright, and I am going to officially link some of my personal blogs they have been putting on the wayside, but haven't really connected to the whole Fluffyman thing, except maybe a few photos I've taken, but essentially I'm going to link to my Flickr, which is a bunch of collection of photos I've been making over the past several years, and I hope you enjoy those. And I'm going to officially change the name of my Twitter handle as Brian K. Myers, though I'll leave the Fluffyman A5 alone. And essentially, I hope I don't shoot myself in the foot of this. I know there's a lot of, sort of stigmas about coming out of their anonymous shell, especially with a lot of scandals in which people are doxxed for their, for speaking out against certain things. But I feel like it is time for me to unmask and really expand myself, and hopefully it works out. End of rant.